as Andrew kicks, most traditional stances are movements you've made offline to help deflections or to attack. If he is attacking and I do that, okay, well, what the hell is this against the kick? Against that sort of pushing kick, you can clearly see the ability not only to scoop it away, but often to catch. And that's how people get caught. People get caught because there's been a deflection, legs left there. So you have movements offline, say punches, yeah? And we've been discussing lately how this is quite useful. Yeah? Some people said to me recently when I showed them pictures of John Jones, actually using this technique. Oh, but that's not this. It doesn't work. Why? Because this is a basic movement. Punch again. That doesn't really work. That's not the same as this. Please. It's exactly the same thing. Whether you don't pull back to here, I don't care. It's trivial. Okay. And that's exactly what Jones does. Again, looking at the stances, I'm moving slightly offline. So what was maybe a forward sort of stance has now shifted a little bit. Why have two movements? Both arms, because karate, tai chi, all of the traditional martial arts build these movements in so that you always have two arms doing something. So for instance, with this cloud hands, I could just as easily have that, or that. So you have a couple of different movements. That, punches, yeah? So there are lots of movements that comprise a basic technique. When you can apply these with some body movement and also with possibly some head movement, because just as you drop into a low stance, say shiko or mabu, a low or mabu, a wide sumo stance, as he throws the punch, I can duck, whether it's to go that way over hook, or whether it's to go that way over a cross, under a cross, is you can't predict. So what does the stance do in the form? It just goes straight down. Okay, it goes straight down. It doesn't try to overdo the head movement because stances in traditional martial arts are used with deflections. And you might go, well, that's not my chosen style. I'd rather do peekaboo with the head. It's fine. That works in boxing. But stances are the key to moving offline and using with your deflections to be able to dominate. People say to me, oh, I've never seen this used. Never seen this used. Yes, you have. Every time you see something like that, it normally just looks like a paw out with a glove. That's just using that circle. Yeah? Every time you see a boxer, throw the hand out, and that's your double. Oh, we never use double. Hell, yes you do. But you might just go, punch a bit faster. Yeah? So, you might just use that portion. Oh, it's turned over, is it? Yeah, because your guard might be here. And we talked the other day about extended guard. So, combine stances, traditional stances, which are moments in time. So your kicks, or your kicks, and combine it with a deflection, because on its own, please don't hit me, I'm going to just move it. It's not quite enough movement, but it's enough to help me get the deflection to work. Deflections work at a bit of a range. So if we just tied each other to this sort of distance with belts, this is very hard to deflect. You need a bit of movement, you need a bit of evasion. So the evasion is a necessary component. And people say, oh, it doesn't work. Two reasons for that. People don't train it. They just don't. Let's face it. You see John Jones out there, he just picked up his arm. He trained the damn thing. He does it about 12 times in the one fight. So, when a punch does come your way, it's not good enough just to stand there and say, I'm just going to raise an arm, I'll be able to do it. It's like saying, I'll be able to do a hook. I've never practiced it, But I'll know it, it's just going round, isn't it? All of these things just sound simple. So the first reason you don't see deflections are people don't train them. And to train them, they also need to know basic stances and evasions. And the evasions that aid and set you up for deflections. So the stances and the deflections are tied together, you need to practice them. And the second big reason that people don't use deflections is because they have structured sports like non-contact karate to be almost exclusively a game of tag at this sort of range with the eventual throw-in of a punch or kick from a distance. And when you're at this range, it doesn't work at all. And if you're in Kyokushin and you're punching the chest here and you're at this range and no body movement, it's very hard to deflect from there because he's just punching as well. So we're both trying to hit. So once you get into this kind of close, too close, grappling, whatever, and once you get too far, it doesn't work so well. Despite that, you will see the odd exchange where somebody's trying to grapple, and you'll see a punch, and you'll throw another one, and you'll see a deflection, and you'll see this kind of thing happening against the cage or the ropes. And that's still deflections. You'll see this happen. And what is this but not controlling using uke, or deflections, or interceptions, I prefer to call them. So you see all sorts of things like this at that range. Any kind of traditional approach is to use stances. Say he throws a punch. I've used a technique. Here I've gone on the inside, highly risky, but I know exactly what to expect. Yeah? That's one of the advantages. If I can, I go to the outside. Okay? Gongbu, straight away. Pass through a mabu. If you look at it, you can always find in motion moments fighters are doing this. Oh, they've got the heel slightly off the ground. Yeah, so what? Nothing is perfect. We train for perfection in a studio, in a dojo, in a school. We train for perfection because we're not training just to fight. Having total control of your body is a very good thing. Will you see perfected form in a scrappy fight? No.